What's going on, my babies? Welcome back to another episode of The Spiritual Word. As always, I apologize for any noises in the background in advance and anything of that nature. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the same thing I was talking about yesterday. And if you didn't see yesterday's episode, also before I start, I have to do my intro and my disclaimers. I always forget to do that. So, thanks for tuning in, tapping in, my babies. If you're into science, spirituality, psychology, self-help, and philosophy, then I recommend subbing or following. I have an audio version anywhere you can find audio podcasts, and I have a video version of this podcast on YouTube. They're both named The Spiritual Word. I upload Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And yeah, I like to start these off with a disclaimer by saying that these are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research to come to your own conclusions, to have your own answers, to make your own decision. And I believe in your ability to be your own person. And I already said that I apologize for the any noises in the background. I almost combined noises and background. So, with that being said, I'm gonna jump right into today's episode. And like I said, I'm gonna be talking about what I was talking about yesterday. If you weren't here yesterday, I was basically talking about the kind of like the conclusion of what the thing is, and if you don't know what the thing is, I'll do a brief, short summary, and it's basically everything, consciousness, God, whatever you believe in, whatever you want to call it, and then how the thing, quotation marks, the thing, works, and basically a short, brief summary of how the thing works is through a law, a mathematical law, and then we got into what it does, and it's basically manifestation, like it manifests everything. And then yesterday, I talked about how you can use this to your advantage, use this knowledge to your advantage, and use this for your everyday experience. So I'm going to be talking about that again, just because I feel like repetition is the best way that you learn. So I'm just going to repeat most of the concepts that I talk about, I repeat. So, is it hair in my mouth? So, basically, if you want to understand these concepts for yourself, I recommend meditating. And if you're somebody who's not already into meditating, then I'll do a video probably tomorrow on how to meditate. And if you're somebody who is already, good at meditating, or you have already wrapped your mind around what meditation is, then I recommend meditating on these specific subjects. And if you meditate, you most likely have already gone to the conclusion of these topics and of these findings, and that's basically you basically already know the information that I'm giving you, and maybe you just need a bit of confirmation. So basically what I want to go into today is how to use the fact that you know that everything is being manifested through a mathematical equation or a mathematical formula. And it's not super duper like right now we don't know the information to say this is the mathematical equation, this is the equation, here is the equation, and we don't have it physically written down, or at least not in mathematical terms. So I use mathematical equation loosely and lightly just because we're not at the point where we can sit there and be like, okay, just, do this, do this, do this. But basically what I've experienced in my life, and through researching, through videos, through reading, through my own meditation, through teachers, through what is it called, mentors. This is the formula that I came up with that works the best for me. And I always talk about what works for me, just because obviously these are personalized, and if you don't have the same way of learning or the same ways that you operate as a human being, then they might be different to you. And, that takes researching and meditating and self reflecting in order for you to figure out what works best for you. So, what works best for me is doing the things that I want to do for the simple fact that I'm not wasting my life or my time. And a lot of the times rich people say time is money. That is because if you're doing something for the simple fact that you love to do that thing, you won't waste time. And I think subconsciously a part of rich people knows that you're supposed to be here to enjoy your life. And they do really strategic ways to get themselves to get to a point where they can have an abundance of time with no restriction, no limitation. And so taking that route, I like to speak logically, and mostly and mainly because that's the way that I learn. I learn through logic, I learn through reasoning, and I learn through evidential proof and stuff like that. And if you're somebody who doesn't need those things, then I feel like if you're watching this, it'll come to you very rapidly. But if you're somebody like me who needs proof, quotation marks, proof, because of what really is proof, then, you're gonna have a little bit of, I wouldn't say a hard time, it'll just take a little bit longer. So, this is the formula that I use. Basically, whatever I want to see, I know it's going to be a possibility. I know that whatever I want to see in my world or whatever I want to see in my reality is a possibility, a future possibility, in this scheme of now. There's only ever now, there's only ever the present. So I know that if I get myself to align myself to who that person is, then I will see that in my reality. So if I'm somebody who doesn't want to waste time, then I will do the things that I want to do because I'm not wasting any time by going out and trying to do the people thing to do, aka make money, aka shop. What's another thing? I think that's really it. The consumer culture in America is really bad, and that's where I live. So it's just that. I don't live like the typical American where we just go shop or we go to work because we want to shop later on. And so because I live like that, it brings up a lot of fears, worries, doubts, and distrust and disharmony within myself. And it could bring that out of you. It could also not, depending on the type of person you are, if you even have them or not. But I have them due to my own conditioning of being an American and seeing that this is the way that the world works. Quotation marks. This is the way that the world works. Be in the line. Get in line. Be another robot. And be another robot that produces for these big corporations. And so, basically, I could sit here and go on a whole tangent about how Americans live like slaves, but that's basically why I don't live the same idealistic life that everybody or most Americans idolize. It's going to work, it's having the nice career, it's having the nice degree. And so, when I don't do those things, it brings up insecurities because it's the way that I'm conditioned to be. I'm conditioned to believe that if I don't have a job, I will be broke. I am conditioned to believe that I am not worthy of existing if I don't have a degree, or if I don't have a job, or if I am not somewhere in the hierarchy of your political status. And I say political status or social status for the typical mind to wrap their brain around, because what really is the typical or the social status of somebody? All of these things that I have brought up in myself, like the fears, worries, doubts, disbeliefs, distrust, it's all from my conditioning, all of it. And the way that the world works is not the way that we were taught that the world works. And we're not even at the point where we can definitively understand how the world works because we're merely humans. And I'm not saying that to downplay the fact that I'm a human, it's just that I am physically built to not understand it, because if I did understand it, I wouldn't be a human. And so being a human has its own advantages, just like it has its own disadvantages. And because of my own understanding and my ability to meditate on said topics, I understand that if I don't waste time and I do what I want to do, I will grow in those areas, and those areas of my life will flourish. If I really care about my relationships and I pour my time and effort into relationships, then my relationships flourish. If I pour my heart and soul into getting a degree and getting a career like the average human in America does, then that's what will flourish. And if I do what I want to do because it's truly what I want to do, then that will flourish. And that is the way that I've gotten myself to manifest and I've gotten myself to create. I have to have an extreme amount of trust. And everybody has to have an extreme amount of trust in the sense of knowing that because you're alive, you're worth it. And because you are a life, you are a physical life, you are worthy, and you are worth getting everything that you ever desired. And that was one of the huge blockages that I've realized in myself, that I thought that I wasn't worthy and that I'm not going to get all the things that I want, because how many people blow up on the internet? How many people actually get, are successful doing what they want to do? And then I realized that I'm just another statistic, And statistics, although they're evidential proof, it doesn't mean that they're concrete facts. They're just the streams that create themselves, and the streams that have created themselves through the negative belief systems of consumer culture and what consumer culture has brought out of Americans. And as I look down at the timestamp, it's 11:11. So just note and know that whatever you want is looking for you as well. And it's not that it's looking for you, it's not that you have to go out and do this grand gesture, it's that you have to live your life according to what you want to see in your life. And for example, if you have an extreme amount of faith and an extreme amount of trust in your world, or aka like you have an extreme amount of trust in the fact that you will see miracles on a daily basis, and that miracles are the way that the world actually works, and we're just conditioned to not believe that, then you will see those things actually come to be. And the reason you'll see those things come to be is because you live in that form. Like, for example, the way that I say, I don't want to waste time being a slave to corporations. I want to do what I want to do because I want to do it. That's how you have to live your life. You have to live your life in the sense that I'm doing this, I'm filming this video because I want to be here. Not because I want the fancy car and because I want all these millions of fans, but I do it because this is how I want to spend my time. This is how I want to live my life. I want to live my life by filming an episode, uploading it, and I don't have to worry about anything else. I don't have to worry about how I'm making my income. I don't have to worry about anything else that I have to, worry about, quotation marks, worry about, because if I'm living my life in the way that I want it to be or the way that I want to see it, then I have to already be living in that fact. I have to be living in my truth. And my truth is that all I have to do is upload and I don't have to worry about anything else, because that's the way that I want to live my life. And that could be very stressful to some people, just because this is not a guarantee success, right? Everybody says that it's not a guarantee, but the only reason it's not a guarantee is if you give up. Or if you tell yourself, no, you don't deserve it, you're not going to get it, you're not worthy, I know this is not going to be a successful thing for you. And if you sit there and you have this limiting cap that says, I know you're not going to make it, that's what you will see, because you do create your experience in the sense of trust. And in this mathematical equation, if you say, this mathematical equation, to simplify it, it's what you know. If I know for a fact that whatever I put my time and energy and effort into will flourish, then it will flourish. Because I know it. Not for the fact that I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the effort, I'm putting in the energy, but for the simple fact that I know it. And one of the huge examples that I use in my day-to-day basis is the fact that Ariana Grande used to tell people in her high school, well, it doesn't matter because I know I'm going to be rich and famous. And what is she now? Rich and famous. And that's just one example. Another example could be Joey Badass, if you listen to him. Another example could be Joyner, if you listen to him. Another example could be any singer, songwriter, any actor, actress, because that's what they wanted to do. They're doing what they wanted to do, even if the people behind the scenes, their friends, their family, the people that they know, the people that are in their reality have told them, you're not going to be successful, you're not going to do it. It's all about what you know to be true. and if you know that you can be successful, and you do have that possibility. Every single person has that possibility. I used to think that I was the dumbest human alive and that I would never be able to make content of this nature because I didn't believe in myself. And then once I sat here and I was like, I do know what I'm saying, and I do know that I can make a difference in other people's lives, in other people's realities, if I choose to let myself. And after reading books upon books upon books by not only Buddhist teachers, Buddhist philosophers, but American philosophers, American scientists, and reading books about science and reading books about numerology and reading books about all these different spiritual routes and all these different religions, and not only getting into that rhythm of acquiring this knowledge and actually implanting this knowledge. And not only that, but the fact that I've self-reflected, and the facts, to me, it was always something that was really hard for me to trust, right? It was really hard for me to trust that I was worthy and that I was going to be successful. And then I would sit down and meditate and I'd have these amazing realizations, and I'd sit there and I'd downplay myself still. And so this is the mathematical formula. Because I doubted myself, because I was not sure that it was going to happen for me, it never happened for me. And then I sat there and I realized I am creating my reality because I'm not sure of it. And the more unsure I am of something, the more uncertainty pops up for me. And the more definitive and the more concrete I am, and you can look at everybody in your possible reality. One of the huge examples that I use in my physical reality is one of my older sisters. She's so certain about almost everything. And especially when it comes to career, like, she has never been one to be the broke bitch, you know? She's never been at a point in her life where she's been down so bad. And if she was, it was by choice. It wasn't by, oh, these are my circumstances, I'm just victim to them. She's always been someone who reliably has shown up in her experience. And during this time, like, I know a lot of people who are struggling to get jobs. I myself I've put in applications and I've never gotten a call back in the past couple of months. It's been months. But at the same time, I'm not really tripping because it's not what I want to see in my reality. So it's kind of, doing exactly what it needs to do. And for this person, I don't think this person has ever gotten fired. My sister has never gotten fired because she's so certain that she knows what she's doing. And that's how you live your life. And when you know something, it manifests. For example, I know a lot of people who they have this inherent knowing that, oh, today's just going to be another disappointing day. I know it. I know that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and everything's just going to be mundane and repetitive. And they don't leave any room for, I know that tomorrow's going to be an amazing day. Then tomorrow comes, and what does it do? It supports your I knows. It's not about belief systems, it's about I know systems. And that took me a long time of meditating and reading to understand. It's not about what you see or what you hear or what you feel, it's about what you know to be true. And if you know something to be true, your world has to physically back that up for you. Because you know it, because it's a part of you, because you are co-creating. And because you're co-creating, and I always thought it was so funny that English has this weird way of, like, mimicking itself. Like, for example, you co-create with reality. And then when you have kids, you procreate. You are the creator. You are birthing this reality, even if you're a man, because, words are just words. And so, if you want to co-create with this reality, you have to physically know what you want to see. You have to know that you're going to see success. You have to know that whatever you want is going to happen. You have to know. Nah, you don't have to feel like you're that. You just have to know, because once you know, you will act like that without hesitation. And you will live your life in that way without hesitation. You won't even really consciously realize or recognize that you're doing that. For example, these people who spiritual people on the internet call the NPCs of the world. They're just acting. They don't have a second thought to what they're doing because they're fully present in their reality. Their I knows are who they are. My I knows is who I am. I know that I can do this, and this is what I want to be doing. And I know that this is what I should be doing. And there's not even really shoulds. I shouldn't even say that, but for the people's sake of this side of the podcast, people think, what should I be doing? What do you want to be doing? That's what you should be doing. Nobody can tell you what to do. Nobody should tell you what you do. You do what you want to do. You choose what you want to do. And you are worthy of what you want to do because you're alive. Because you are a life. Because life doesn't make mistakes. And if you want to argue with that, then life will support you. Life will say, oh, if you're arguing with me on the fact that I do make mistakes, you're right. I do make mistakes. So your present reality will show that to you. Through famine, war, suffering, all of these other avenues. And if you don't want to support that type of reality, then you support the type of reality that you do want to see. If you want to see a world where people are peaceful and harmonious, be that. Be that monk that chooses to act out of peace instead of out of a place of emotional, waves. And with that being said, I'm gonna end this here, and tomorrow's episode is going to be talking about how to meditate, just because if you meditate, I feel like all of the things that you need to know will come to you through meditation. And meditation is one of the biggest tools that I've ever used to learn, which I used to not like meditating because it seemed really like a chore. And it was something that I didn't really understand. And then once I started to have these revelations and these realizations, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. This is like when you get into a really good movie or a really good book and you don't want to put it down. So that's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to end this here. Thanks for tuning in and tapping in. It's been Jackie. And thanks for being here, my babies. If you have been here before, you know that I call you guys my babies. And if you haven't been here before, you guys are my babies and you will continue to be my babies. So thanks for supporting me and watching these. And I will continue to support you by giving you more and more of the information that I have to share. And yeah, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.